Hi kids, let's understand what is a midpoint theorem. Now, in case of a triangle, if D is a midpoint of AB, E is a midpoint of AC, then if we draw a line segment joining these two midpoint, okay, then according to midpoint theorem, this line would be parallel to the third side. So DE would be parallel to BC. So according to midpoint theorem, the line segment joining the midpoints of any two sides of a triangle will be parallel to the third side, and it always will be half of it. So that means DE, the length of DE would be half of the third side, which is BC. I hope it's clear. Let's understand converse of midpoint theorem. What do you mean by converse? Converse means the opposite. In midpoint theorem, you found that the lines are parallel to each other. Over here, that information would be given to you and you have to confirm that it is a midpoint. So according to converse of midpoint theorem, if the straight line which is drawn through the midpoint of one side, say for example D is a midpoint of AB. If I draw a straight line from point D and D, say for example this is E, DE is parallel to BC, this is given to you. So what information is given to you? D is a midpoint is given to you and DE is parallel to BC, that is given to you. So according to converse of midpoint theorem, we will say that E will also be a midpoint. That is what we are proving. So here in this case, converse of midpoint, only one midpoint would be given to you and that line segment would be parallel to the other side. So where it meets, that would be a midpoint. I hope it's clear. Let's understand the intercept theorem. Now, if a transversal makes equal intercepts on three or more parallel lines, say for example, I draw three parallel lines. It can be three parallel lines or more than three parallel lines, okay? And if a transversal is a line which cuts these parallel lines. Say I name it as A, B, C, okay? If a transversal makes equal intercepts means what is intercept? Intercept means AB will be equal to BC. This is equal intercept, okay? If a transversal makes equal intercept on three or more parallel lines, then any other line which cuts them. So if there is any other line, for example, I make this as any other line which cuts this three parallel line and I name it as P, Q and R, they will also make equal intercept. That means PQ will also be equal to QR. So when there are this possibility is there only if there are three or more parallel lines and they are cut by a transversal which makes equal intercept, then if any other line cuts them, even that will make equal intercepts. Let's start with the exercise children. The first question from the textbook R.S. Agarwal. DEF are the midpoints of side BC, CA and AD. So that means D is a midpoint of BC, so these two are equal. E is a midpoint of AC, so this is equal to this. F is a midpoint of AB, so this is equal to this. Okay. Now, if AB is 6.2, AB is given as 6.2 centimeter. You have to find DE. Now, this information is given to you. You have to find DE. Now, as per the midpoint theorem, since D and E both are midpoints, so we can say that DE is parallel to AB. Why? As per the midpoint theorem, you will have to write the full form, okay? So DE is parallel to AB. So that means DE would be half of AB. So that means it would be half of 6.2, which is 3.1 centimeter. Okay. Second sub question. DF is given as 3.8. DF is this, that is 3.8 centimeter. Okay. You have to find AC. So DF and AC, now D and F are the midpoints. So that means DF would be parallel to AC and DF would be half of AC. What is the reason? Midpoint theorem. Children, if you don't mention the reason, you will not score marks in the boards, okay? So DF is half of AC. So DF is given as 3.8 is equal to half of AC. So AC is 3.8. You will cross multiply into 2, which is 7.6 centimeter. So you got AC as 7.6 centimeter. Okay. Now the third sub question. If the perimeter of a triangle ABC is given as 21 centimeter, how do you find the perimeter? Perimeter is sum of all the sides. AB is given to you, AC we already found out, so BC we can find out since the perimeter is given to us. But after finding BC, what you need to find FE. So FE would be half of BC, right? So let's do this. So perimeter of a triangle is sum of all the sides, which is AB plus BC plus AC. Perimeter given is 21 is equal to AB is 6.2 plus BC plus 7.6. So you will get 21 is equal to BC plus 0.8, 13.8. So BC would be 21 minus 13.8, which is equal to 0.2, 14 and 7.2 centimeter. Okay, now you have to find FE. Let's find FE. So FE, F and E are the midpoints. So FE will be parallel to BC and FE would be half of BC. What is the reason? Midpoint theorem. So which is, you want to find FE, so it is half of BC, which is 7.2. So the answer would be 3.6 centimeter. So FE is 3.6 centimeter. I hope it's clear. Let's go to question number 2, children. LMN is a right triangle in which M is 90 degree. P and Q are the midpoints of LM and LN respectively. If LM is given as 9 centimeter, MN is given as 12 centimeter and LN is given as 15 centimeter. Find the perimeter of trapezium MNOQ. That means you have to find the perimeter of this part. So to find the perimeter, what is the formula? Sum of all the sides. This side is given to you. You have to find this side and this side. Okay. Now since PQ are the midpoints, so we can say that PQ is parallel to MN. So PQ would be half of MN. Correct. So PQ would be half of 12 centimeter, which is 6 centimeter. Okay. So you got the measurement here as 6 centimeter. Now, P is the midpoint of LM. So, what would be the measurement for PMB? So, PM would be half of 9 centimeter, which is 4.5 centimeter. So, this becomes 4.5 centimeter. Same way, Q is the midpoint of LN. So, Q is half of 15 centimeter. Which is, QN. QN is half of 15 centimeter, which is 7.5 centimeter. So this is 7.5 centimeter. Now you can find the perimeter. So perimeter is PQ plus QN plus MN plus PM. Correct? Sum of all the sides. So it is 6 centimeter plus 7.5 centimeter plus 12 centimeter plus 4.5 centimeter, which is equal to 7.5 plus 4.5 is 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. 24 plus 6 is 30. So it is 30 centimeter. Okay. Now you have to find the area of trapezium MNOQ. What is the formula to find the area of a trapezium? It is always area of a trapezium is equal to half into sum of the parallel sides, into height. Okay. Now here, which are the parallel sides? Parallel side means which will not meet. This and this will meet. Okay. So the parallel sides over here is PQ plus MN and height would be PM. Okay. Let's find it. So it would be half into PQ is 6 centimeter, MN is 12 centimeter into height is PM, which is 4.5. So it is half into 18 into 4.5. 2 9s are. So now 9 5s are 45, 4 9 4s are 36, 40. So area, so this would be centimeter square. I hope it's clear. Let's go to question number 4, children. If point D, E, F are the midpoints of the sides which is given to you, and triangle ABC is an equilateral triangle. What is equilateral triangle? All sides are equal. Okay. You have to prove that DEF is also an equilateral triangle. Now these are the midpoints given to you, and triangle ABC is an equilateral triangle. So what you will do, since D and F are the midpoints, that means DF will be parallel to BC and DF would be half of BC. What is the reason? Midpoint theorem. Correct? Same way, D and E are the midpoints. So DE will be parallel to AC and DE would be half of AC, again as per midpoint theorem. Okay. Same way, FE is parallel to AB. So that means FE is equal to half of AB, again as per midpoint theorem. But what information is given to you? That triangle ABC is an equilateral triangle. So that means if it's an equilateral triangle, AB is equal to BC is equal to AC. So here all these things, all this will be equal. So half of AB will be equal to half of BC will be equal to half of AC. Correct? If that is equal, then this sides will also be equal. So since they are equal sides of an equilateral triangle. Okay. So therefore DF will be equal to DE will be equal to FE. Okay. So if it is equal, what does it mean? It means that triangle DEF is an equilateral triangle, since all the sides are equal. I hope it's clear. Come on, let's go to the next one. Let's go to question number 5, children. ABCD is a quadrilateral in which AD is equal to BC. Okay. And PQRS are the midpoints of AB, BD, CD and AC respectively. You have to prove that PQRS, this PQRS is a rhombus. So what are the properties of a rhombus? In rhombus, all sides are equal and opposite sides are parallel. Okay. So you have to prove that all sides are equal. So let's do that. Now, whenever you are naming it, you will have to write the triangle. Now say in triangle, if I take ADB, in triangle ADB, PQ is parallel to AD. That means PQ is half of AD. First one. Second, let's take in triangle ABC. In triangle ABC, PS is parallel to BC. So PS is half of BC. This is second part. Okay. Third part. Now third part, let's take the triangle ADC. In triangle ADC. Okay. In triangle ADC, RS is parallel to AD. So RS is half of AD. Third part. Same way, in triangle DCB, two lower triangles, two upper triangles. In triangle DCB, RQ is parallel to BC. So RQ is half of BC. This is fourth part. Now in the question they have already given that AD is equal to BC. If AD is equal to BC, that means AD, BC, AD, BC, they are all equal. So that means, what does it mean? It means that PQ will be equal to PS, will be equal to RS, will be equal to RQ. Now what does it mean? All the sides are equal and they were parallel also. So therefore PQRS is a rhombus. What reason will you write for this? Since, this is a symbol for since AD is equal to BC. This is given in the question. I hope it's clear. Come on, let's go to the next one. Let's go to question number 6, children. ABCD is a parallelogram. What are the properties of a parallelogram? Opposite sides are equal and they are parallel. So that means AD is parallel to BC and CD is parallel to AB. Correct? And also they are equal. Then E is a midpoint of DC. This is already given that this is a midpoint. Okay? And F is a point. It is not a midpoint. It is a point on AC such that CF is 1/4 of AC. Now, if EF is produced to meet BC in G, you have to prove that G is a midpoint of BC. First thing, you are going to draw a diagonal. Okay, join BD, you will join the diagonal. Now, what are the properties? What is the property of a parallelogram as per the diagonal? The diagonals bisect each other. Say for example, I name this as O. Okay, so diagonals bisect each other. You will have to write diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. What do you mean by bisect each other? It cuts the line segment into half. That means OA is equal to OC. OA is equal to OC. It is bisecting it. Okay. In the question it is given that CF is 1/4 of AC. Correct. But OC is half of AC. Correct. Because OC is half of AC, that means we can write it as CF would be half of OC. Correct? Now this is 1/4 of OC and this is half of OC. So this is half. So that means CF would be half of OC. What does it mean? If CF is half of OC, it means that F is a midpoint of OC. Is this part clear? Are you able to link this? See here, OA is equal to OC, but OC is half of AC. In the question they have given that CF is 1/4 of AC. 1/4 of AC means twice OC. So twice OC. You want me to show this? I will show you this step. So CF is equal to 1/4 of AC. AC is twice OC. So which is 1/2 OC, which I got it over here. Okay. Now let's go ahead. We got F is a midpoint of OC. We got this now. Okay. So this is also a midpoint. Now in triangle, see, in triangle DOC, E is a midpoint. We got that F is a midpoint. That means EF is parallel to DO. What is the reason? Converse of midpoint theorem. Correct? Midpoint theorem. If there are two midpoints, that means this line will be parallel to OD. In short, we can say that EF will be parallel to BD, DB. When you extend this line diagonal, so it would be parallel. Now, this part is clear. So we have proved that EF is parallel to BD. Now from F the line is extended. Okay. So let's go ahead now. Okay. Now F is a midpoint and EF is parallel to BD. So in triangle COB. Okay. Now F is a midpoint. Now if this line is parallel to this line, That means this line will also be parallel to this. Correct? That means FG is also parallel to OB. Now, if it is parallel plus one midpoint is given to you, that means G is a midpoint too, right? G is a midpoint of BC. And what is the reason? Converse of midpoint theorem. According to converse of midpoint theorem, the two conditions are one side has to be a midpoint and they have to be parallel to the third side. If that is possible, then the other side will also have the midpoint. I hope it's clear. Come on, let's go to the next one. Let's go to question number 7, children. ABCD is a kite, okay, in which AB is equal to AD and CB is equal to CD. Now in kite, the adjacent sides are equal. If EFG, E is a midpoint, F is a midpoint and G is a midpoint. These three are midpoints given to you of AB, AD and CD. Find first one, EFG is equal to 90 degree. See, it's easier to understand the question. Now, when these two are the midpoints, that means EF would be parallel to BD, correct? So, since E and F are the midpoints, therefore EF will be parallel to BD. What is the reason? Midpoint theorem, correct? In the same way, I will take F and G, both are midpoints. So, F and G are midpoints. So, that means FG will be parallel to AC, again midpoint theorem. Okay. Now, the property of a kite is the diagonals bisect at right angle. So, what does it mean? It means that this is one diagonal, this is another diagonal. So, they bisect at right angles. So, you have to mention that point, diagonal of a kite bisect at right angle. So, what does it mean? It means that AC is perpendicular to BD. It bisects at right angles. Now, if AC is perpendicular to BD, these two are perpendicular, then won't you think EF would be perpendicular to FG also? So, therefore EF will also be perpendicular to FG. Now, EF is perpendicular to FG, so the measure of angle EFG would be 90 degree. Clear? So, this is your first subpart. Second one, if GH is parallel to FE, then say that H bisects CB, H is bisecting CB. Now, if you take triangle BDC, in triangle BDC, okay. Now, you know that it's already given that GH is parallel to FE, but EF is parallel to BD. So, that means GH will be parallel to BD, correct? Now, if GH is parallel to BD and G is a midpoint, that means H is also a midpoint of BC. What is the reason? Converse of midpoint theorem. What does the converse of midpoint theorem say? It says that if there is one midpoint and this line is parallel to the third side, then we say this will also be a midpoint. Correct? Come on, let's go to the next one. Let's go to question number 8, children. ABCD is a parallelogram. So, opposite sides are equal and they are parallel. That means AD is equal to BC. And E is a midpoint of CD. So, this is a midpoint of CD. And through D, a line is drawn parallel to EB. So, these two lines are parallel to meet CB at G and intersecting AB at F. you have to prove that AD is half GC. Okay. Now children, see, this is a midpoint. Now if you take this triangle, in triangle DCG, E is a midpoint and they are parallel to each other. That means B will also be a midpoint as per converse of midpoint theorem. So in triangle CDG, okay, E is a midpoint given to you and EB is already given that it is parallel to DG. That means B is a midpoint of CG. What is the reason? Converse of midpoint theorem. Now you got this is also midpoint. Okay. Now if it is a midpoint, that means CB is equal to BG since it is a midpoint. But CB is equal to AD since opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal. So we can say that CB is half of CG. Correct? Now we substitute it with AD. So AD would be half of GC. This is what you wanted to prove in the first part. See, we know that opposite sides are equal. Now this is half of GC. So if this is half of GC, we can say that AD is also half of CG. Clear? Come on. Now comes the second part which says that DG is twice EB. Now in this triangle only, if E is a midpoint, B is a midpoint. Okay. So that means EB would be half of DG as per midpoint theorem. You will write the reason, midpoint theorem. Now cross multiply, 2EB will be equal to DG. This would be the second subpart. Okay. So children, I end this video here. Please stay connected for the next part. Till then, bye, take care and God bless.